Mariners lose 5-4 in extra innings. They fall to 71-56 on the season. They go 8-2 on the road trip, though, and they do take 3 of the Chicago White Sox, but this is a frustrating one. Let's talk about how it happens. Tim Anderson singles home a run in the in the third. That scores the first run, so first was kind of right. 1-0. Trace Thompson homers to left to score Oscar Colas in the 6th inning. 3-0. Mariners get one and back in the 7th on a perfect safety squeeze, I guess is what you would call it, to score Jose Caballero. 3-1. 9th inning, Mariners take the lead because Julio Rodriguez, he's Amaya Rodriguez. Julio Rodriguez gets hit by a pitch to make it 3-2, and Eugenio Suarez singles to score a couple of runs. 4-3. It's looking good. Unfortunately, Andre Munoz blows the save in the 9th on a Andrew Benintendi single, and then in the 10th, Tim Anderson scores on a throwing error by J.P. Crawford to make it 5-4. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's your basic rundown of your scoring plays. Before we get into the good and bad from this game, let's thank the good people of Simply Seattle. Folks, they have everything. Anything Seattle related, you bet they've got it. Great hats, great shirts, great hoodies, great jackets, anything you're looking for Seattle related, they've got it. Doesn't matter if you're a Mariner fan, Husky fan, Seahawk fan, Supersonic fan, Kraken fan, everything Simply Seattle has. And anything you're looking for, already great prices, but you can save 15% off your order by using code MOLLYWOP15. That's MOLLYWHOP15, one word, and you will save 15% off your total order. Thank you so much, Simply Seattle. I mean, you're going to lose games. You're going to lose games. And if you're going to lose a game, why not do it in a borderline funny way? But this was a stupid loss. This was a stupid loss that had a lot of highs and a lot of lows. Well, mostly lows, to be honest, but a couple of real highs. Let's talk about some positives. Okay, so George Kirby ends up giving 3 runs in 5 2/3 innings, and he gives up 8 hits, which is not great. He pitched so much better than that. He gave up so little hard contact. And look, he gives up 1 run. He goes into the 6th inning. Guy gets a single, and then Trace Thompson hit a wonderful pitch, a perfectly placed pitch. He just drove it. Hitter got the better. Hitter won. Trace Thompson showed off his pop and got him. Outside of like 3 plays, I thought George Kirby looked fantastic today. Very encouraged by that start, even if the results aren't great. And of course, the Mariners end up losing the game. I don't think you can be anything but happy with what you saw from George Kirby for the overwhelming majority of the game. Frustrating that he ends up giving up 3 because he was really deserving of about a run, give or take. A run and a half, if such a thing existed. Luke Weaver looked sensational. Oh my goodness, I did not expect that. Now look, I don't want Luke Weaver starting games for the Seattle Mariners, and I don't want him pitching in high leverage situations. But if he can give you what they gave you today, for those who missed it, 2 innings, doesn't allow a hit, strikes out the first 5 I think he faced. He was awesome. And we saw some flashes of this when he was with Kansas City towards the end of last year. There's a reason why the Mariners wanted him. I'm not going to go too crazy here, folks. It's 1 appearance, but he looked great. And if he can be a viable member of the bullpen who can give you some innings, and they need him. They need someone like that because of what you're getting or what you're not guaranteed to get from the back of your rotation. Great job by him. Offensively, Josh Rojas had another really nice game. 3 for 4 with with an RBI. I don't think the Mariners hit a homer today. No, they did not. Strong game from him. Julio reaches 3 times. We'll talk about it. Suarez has the big hit. Teoscar has a couple hits. It was mostly bad from the offense tonight. I liked their approach and we can just get into the negatives. I liked their approach at the plate, especially early against Kopech. But you got to score runs. You got to score runs. And this team was shut out for the first 6 innings. And getting shut out by Michael Kopech, I understand it. He's got good stuff. He had pretty good stuff today. Terrible command, as he always does. but the stuff was pretty good. Getting shut out by Brian Shaw is not okay. You can't have two scoreless innings from Brian Shaw. You've got to score runs against these type of guys. And they do, they beat up on Aaron Bummer and Greg Santos, which are probably their two most talented pitchers. Hey, that's good. But this game didn't have to go into extra if you can hit mediocre pitching. The offense today wasn't good enough. Ty France wasn't good enough today. Ty France was really bad today. In fact, he took one of the worst at bats I've seen so far this year. Just the outside slider. I mean, we talk about it with Julio. It's just as bad, if not bad, or worse with France. It's just sometimes he pops it up instead of Julio swings and misses at it. Doesn't do you any much better. Mike Ford struggled today. Dylan Moore was awful today. Cade Marlowe has now struck out in 5 of his last 6 at bats. Concerning. Absolutely concerning. You could be optimistic about the long term. I'm not sure you want him in the lineup too much right now. He's probably your 4th outfielder. Julio gets a chance to do some damage late in the game. And I've just got to be honest with you. Like, he stung a single in the 8th inning, and it was a big hit. It was potentially a big hit. They had first and third, and unfortunately, Ty France has a horrible at bat. So he did make that hard contact. He did get hit by a pitch that scored a run. But I'm going to be flat out honest with you. He got bailed out by being hit. He looked awful in that at bat. He looked really, really poor up until Gregory Santos hits him in the wrist. And I'm glad Julio's okay. And I'm glad he didn't swing at the pitch. But he struggled. And then with the bases loaded an inning later, it's a little comebacker with 2 outs. We have unfair expectations for Julio, but as the best player on this team by a long shot, he's got to be better in those situations. The Mariners aren't even close to where they are without Julio Rodriguez. He literally carried the team for about a week. But today wasn't his day. He reaches 3 times. I think that's misleading. I think that's a little misleading. But 80 RBIs now. That's fun. Good shot for him and Eugenio. I know RBI flood stat. A good chance for both of them to reach. Okay, let's get to Munoz. This was frustrating, folks. He's got to rely more on his fastball. I know he likes his slider. It's a good pitch. When he's burying it down in the zone, ahead and counts, it's a great pitch. It can get plus grades. But when you've got the fastball working and you're hanging your slider, just throw the fastball. I can live with Andre Munoz being beaten by 99 up in the zone. If somebody gets to that, fine. Tip your cap. A salute to you, good sir. You beat him on his best pitch. I'm not okay with him being beaten by shitty sliders. I'm so sorry for the swear. I'm sorry. But I'm not okay with that. Those were poor pitches. The slider he leaves to Colas for the leadoff double, awful. 40 grade pitch. The slider that Benintendi singles the run home in, awful pitch. And in between that, he throws some 70 to 80 grade fastballs. Just challenge, guys. I get that you want to beat people with your slider, and I get why the Mariners love that pitch. It's an effective pitch a lot of the time. It's not his best pitch, and he wasn't at his best. So throw your best pitch. He's just got to throw more fastballs, folks. He has to. Really frustrating because he strikes out the side on 3 awesome fastballs, and he gets ahead of guys on awesome fastballs. But he can't put the hitters away because of crappy sliders. Ugh. That game should have been over. That game absolutely should have been over. but a couple cement mixers from a guy who can throw 101 miles an hour just frustrates me. And I don't know if that's on Munoz, and I don't know if that's on Raleigh, and I don't know if that's on Service, but somebody has to say, throw your freaking fastball. And then let's get into so we talked about it. They do load the bases. And I'll say this too. Cal Raleigh had a great chance too. Didn't get the job done. Your two best hitters just didn't get it done today. Should those situations have mattered? No. But they didn't get it done today. So Topa comes in. He throws 2 pitches. They have Tim Anderson absolutely picked off. Raleigh makes a perfect throw to second base with shortstop JP Crawford covering. And they give Crawford the air, and I understand it's got to be something. It can't just be Anderson steals third, steals home. But it hit him square in the head. Just square. And folks, that's just bad luck. I think we all know how I feel about JP Crawford's defense. I'm not a huge fan. I think there are a lot of plays that should be made by him that don't get made by him. The metrics mostly agree with me. But that's not on JP Crawford. That's such bad luck to have that throw hit the dude square in the flippin' dome. What can you do? What can you do? That's just unbelievably bad luck on that situation. But, okay, so that's bad luck. That is unfortunate. That's not on Topa. That's not on Raleigh. That's not on Suarez. That's not on Crawford even. You have to give him the air because it has to be something. You can't just call it. There's no c'est la vie in baseball. But do your job in the bottom of the 9th and the top of the 10th. It doesn't matter. So it's not bad luck in that situation because nothing good can happen. Nothing good can happen in that situation. The best thing that can happen is you keep things even and you get to go play some more baseball. So in that regard, that air's not on Crawford. It's on Julio for not getting done with the bases loaded. It's on Raleigh for not getting it done, and it's on Munoz for not getting it done in the 9th. How many of these losses now? Because I think they've won. I know, in fact, they've won 16 of 20. How many of these are in extra innings now? 3, I think. And 1 bottom of the 9th loss. You know, in the grand scheme of things, this is just one that nobody's really going to remember. They've played so well. They are on such a roll. You can't call this road stand anything but an unqualified success. But I'll remember this one because it's a bummer. Julio gets hit. It's 3-2. There's 1 out. All you need is a little drive from Suarez, and he does more than that. He scorches a ball in the center field to score a couple of runs. That should have been it. Unfortunately, you can't play out on because Ty France just was awful today. Just an awful, awful game from him. Would have been nice to add a little bit more, but it should have been enough. And if all Andres Munoz does in that game is throw sliders, or excuse me, doesn't throw sliders, throws fastballs. If all Andre Munoz does is go with his best pitch, Mariners win. 0 doubt in my mind. But they tried to get cute, and it's happening too much with Munoz. Somebody was saying that like Munoz is the new Diego Castillo in my mentions, and that's nonsense. The overwhelming experience, it's been overwhelmingly positive for Andre Munoz for most of this year. And last year, obviously, he was unreal good. He hasn't been as unreal good this year, though. And I just don't think I want to correct myself from what I said yesterday. Let me get comfortable for it. I said that I'm not sure if Andre Munoz is hurt or healthy. That's not what I really meant. What I meant is I don't think he has the same arm strength that he had at this point last year. And I think we've seen it. There's been a lot of 96, 97, which is in 1998. Those are elite fastballs. It's not elite now. There just hasn't been that 102, 103 that we've grown accustomed to. And I think we'll see that back next year when he has a normal spring training and a normal time to rehab. But he didn't have that. And then he dealt with another injury this year, too. So I'm not too concerned about it. I do think he might be the third best reliever on the Mariners right now, though. I think Topa and I think Brash are better right now. That might sound like heresy, but it's kind of how I feel. I may not feel that way if just Andres Munoz throws some flipping fastballs, though. Throw your fastball. When you gain more feel for that slider, or if it starts showing the same tilt and breaking out of the zone, then that's fine. But it's just catching way too much of the plate with not enough movement. Ugh. So the Mariners have an off day tomorrow. I think they're very thankful for that, especially after today, where they just looked hotter than Hades on that field. Just stupid. And then you start a 4-gamer against Kansas City. I believe it's Brady Singer against Bryce Miller on Friday. Real quick, and I know this video has been a longer one than I intended, but so tomorrow I'm going to have a special video. It's going to be on the 10 best outfielders in Seattle Mariner history. Watch that video, hit like on it, and make sure you're already subscribed. And hit like and subscribe now, please. I'd really appreciate it. But as soon as we get to 1,000, somebody's getting a Julio Rodriguez autographed rookie card. You'll just have to watch the video to the very end tomorrow to figure out how. Hey, frustrating loss, but what a great road trip. Follow me on the thingy at Crawford_MILB. Sports Sometimes podcast. I just recorded today with Levi Weaver. It'll be up tomorrow. It's fascinating. I promise you, you will want to check that out. RotoWire Fantasy Baseball podcast. And tomorrow is the first ever Sportstopia baseball podcast with me and my buddy Drew Silva. Really would appreciate you guys checking it out. It won't be live the first couple episodes, I believe, at least the first one, but it will be live going forward. It's early. It's at 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. Pacific time. But the replay will be there, and I'd really appreciate you guys checking it out. Hey, what could have been? I had my broom ready and everything.